በምንማርበት የግሪክ ቋንቋ ልንማር ፊት ቀርበናል። እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ሆይ ጥበብን፣ ማስተዋልን፣ እውቀትን እንድትጨምርልን በኢየሱስ ስም እንጸልያለን። እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ለሰው ከባድ ላንተ ቀላል ነውና እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ሆይ ይህ መንፈስህ እንዲያግዘን በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም እንጸልያለን። መምህራችንም የሚያስተምርበትን ጥበብን፣ ማስተዋልን፣ እውቀትን ሁሉ እንድትጨምርለት በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም እንጸልያለን። ኮኔክሽኑን፣ አትሞስፌሩን ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ካልም እንድታደርግ፣ ኢንተርኔቱን ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ለዚህ ትምህርት ሲዩቴብል እንድታደርግልን፣ ሁሉን እንድትቆጣጠር በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም ጸለይ። እናመሰግናለን በሕያው ልጅ በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም አሜን።
አሜን። መሀል ላይ ተቋርጦ ነበርና የጨረስክ መስሎኝ ነው። ዘላለም ይቅርታ። ኦኬ። ባለፈው ሳምንት እንደጀመርነው ቲንክ ባለፈው ሳምንት ጥሩ ጊዜ ነበረን። በተለይ ፓርቲሲፕልን በተመለከተ ቢያንስ አሁን ቀሎናል ብዬ አስባለሁ። ፓርቲሲፕል ደጋግመን ስንሰራው ደግሞ የበለጠ እየቀለለ ይሄዳል ማለት ነው። እሱ ብቻም አይደለም፣ ኢንፊኒቲቭ ጀምረናል። ኢንፊኒቲቭ ዛሬ እንጨርስና ሌላ ደግሞ አንዳንድ ነገሮችን እንነጋገራለን። ኦኬ። ኢንፊኒቲቭስ are, as we discussed last week, infinitives are verbal nouns. That means they have the characteristics of both the verb and the noun, or they can act as a noun and as also a verb. From noun, they can be serve as, or they can function as a subject or an object of a sentence. As a verb, it has what do we call it, aspect. That means it has tense. As we discussed before, tense can be divided into two aspects and the time, but as we discussed before, not only the infinitive but also the rest non-indicative moods can serve as not, or they do not show time, but they show as an aspect. Aspect means the view of the action in light of the speaker, or in light of the subject of the sentence. So they can communicate an aspect, not a time. So in this case, we have three possibilities of infinitives. For example, we have present infinitives, aorist infinitive, and perfect infinitives. So infinitives index or infinitive suffixes have simple compared to the other modes, especially to that of the participle. So they have present suffixes, as we discussed before. We have also aorist suffixes, and we have also the perfect suffixes. But the most difficult one in the case of infinitive is not their suffixes, but a little bit ambiguous one is their functions. So we must discern the function of each infinitive. So as we discussed before, for example, we already discussed this sentence. Jesus came to serve. This to serve serves as an object of the sentence, or it is serve as an object of the sentence. One of the function of the infinitive is can serve as an object of a sentence, or else it can, for example, to serve to die will Jesus not come zaga ስንመለከት subject of the sentence ሆኖ የሚያገለግለው ማለት ነው። or the subject or the subject of this. To die is gain የሚለው ማለት ነው። To die is gain. To die is gain. To die, or the infinitive to die serves as the subject of the verb to be is, that is to get. So we have different use of infinitives, and we will continue that one today as well. Okay, like a verb, the function may take as an object or modified by an adverb and have both tense and voice. We have already discussed that one. When we are speaking about tense, it is not a time, it is only aspect. So in this case, we have three possibilities. We have aristic aspect, or arist is not concerned about the progress of the action, but it indicates the summary of the action, or general description of the action is indicated by the aristic aspect of the infinitive, whereas that of imperfective or continuous, it shows as the action is just can be shown as a motion in the eye of the speaker. So we call it that imperfective or continuous action, or else it can be perfective or completed action, but the result is still significant. We use the perfective infinitives. For example, when Jesus came to serve, the present tense emphasizes continuous action. As we discussed, the present infinitive indicates continuous action. The aorist infinitive indicates undefined or summary of the action, and perfective we are bothering about the result of the action. So an infinitive can express voice. We have already discussed that one. It have active voice, middle voice, and passive voice, like that of the other non-indicative modes. It is also negated by may. All non-indicative verb forms are negated by may. So it is a little bit different from indicative mood. Indicative mood is negated by o as och, and this is the rest, or the non-indicative moods are negated by the addition of may to the front of the verb, and always the infinitives are in dative form. We already know that one. So in this case, they are usually used in dative form. Okay. Like noun, I already discussed that one, but they take the singular articles or singular neuter articles. Infinitive can take singular neuter article, to, and to. This one is the nominative, this one is the genitive, and this one is the dative case. So it is this one is to is the nominative case, to is the genitive case, and to is the dative case. But all are in neuter. They are neuter, not only neuter, but also they are singular. Okay. For example, if you analyze these present infinitives, we already discussed about the aspect is continuous aspect or imperfective aspect. So the active suffix is in. There is no here circumflex over the iota here. If it is there, the circumflex is over there, then it is not the active suffix. Instead, it becomes secondarist. Take care about that one. So this ending is non-circumflex ending. So n is non-circumflex ending, or there is no the circumflex over the iota. If it is there, then it becomes the the secondary aorist. So take care about that one because the secondary aorists have irregularities in their different tense formatives. So ain is the always ain. If you find at the end of the stem or the stem plus n, then it is automatically the present infinitive. Then the translation should be right to, and then since it is continuous, so to be losing. The meaning is to be losing. Lu'ain, you can also add more here. Legain, for example, legain is to be saying or like that. So in the case of active infinitive, then since it is the imperfective or continuous aspect, it must be translated as the to plus be plus the ing form of the verb. So to be losing, this one is the active. When we come to the middle or passive voice of the present infinitive, so it is estai, estai, legestai, and so on. So estai, we have estai ending. There is no similar ending. Just middle or passive. It is present, middle, or passive have similarities, similar endings. ሌላ ይሄንን የሚመስል ኢንዲንግ ያለው የለም። ነገር ግን የሚመሳሰል ነገር ያለው አለ። ግን ኤስ ታይ በተለይ እቺ ኤስ እና ታይ ሚድል ኦር ፓሲቭ ፕሬዘንት ኢንፊኒቲቭ የሚያመለክቱ ናቸው ማለት ነው። So ኤስ ታይ is to be losing for oneself or to be being lost, or to be being lost is a passive one. This one is a middle one. If you add oneself or yourself or for himself or himself and so on, then you are translating the sentence as the middle form of that sentence. So the ending is estai, and estai is to be losing for oneself. Legestai, for example, to be saying for oneself. And so you can add also more. So it is simple. So ain is active, esta is middle or passive. Okay. As we discussed before. Yes.
Ask me please before.
Have you a question? Please.
Yeah, I have a question, teacher.
Okay.
እስቲ መልስ የቅድሙ ስላይድ ላይ እቺ
ዘላለም አካባቢ ላይ
አፖስትሮፏ ትታያለች። ከዚህ ሉኤን እና ሉኤስታይ ላይ ይሄ ይሰማል።
አዎ፣ ከኋላ ግን የሆነ ድምጽ አለ ትንሽ እንትን። እሺ፣
ሉኤስታይ እቺ አፖስትሮፍ አለቻትና ወይ ላይ የሷን ድምጽ ማለት ይሄ ዩኒክ ፊውቸሩ ነው ወይ በሌሎችም ወርዶች ላይ እንዲህ አይነት ፊውቸር ይኖራል?
ኦኬ፣ ግሬቭ ነው የምንላት ያችን እንደ አፖስትሮፍ ነገርና ቀጭን ጭረት፣ በአማርኛ ቀጭን ጭረት ነው የምንላት። እቺኛዋ ማለት ነው አይደል? እቺን ማለት ነው አይደል? ዘላለም ተቋረጠ እንዴ?
እሷን ማለቴ ነው። አዎ እሷን ማለቴ ነው። እቺ ጭረቷ ማለት ነው። ዩኒክ ፊውቸር
ያ ሉኤን የምትለዋ ማለት ነው። እቺኛዋ እቺ ጭረት ምንድነው? አይ ቲንክ ጥያቄ ምንድነው?
ዩኒክ ያደረገው ማለት ለዚህ ለወርድ ብቻ ነው ወይ ፕሬዘንት ኢንፊኒቲቭ ላሉት እንትኑ ሁሉ ተመሳሳይ እቺ ጭረት በዩ ላይ አለች ወይ የሚለውን ነገር ለማወቅ።
ያ ይሄንን የተናጋሪዎቹ ናቸው ደንብ የሚያውቁት እና መች ነው ይሄንን የምንጨምረው መች ነው ይሄንን የምንቀንሰው የሚለው ነገር አይ ቲንክ ከፕሮናውንሴሽን ጋር የሚያያዝ ነገር ነው። ይሄ ግሬቭ ነው የምንለው በእንትን ግሪክ ዋን ላይ ነው የምናገኘው። ግሬቭ ቀጭን ጭረት መች ነው የምንጠቀመው የሚለውን ነገር እንደዚሁ እዛ ማግኘት እንችላለን። ምናልባት ግን ይሄ ብዙም ለአክሰንት ካልሆነ በስተቀር ያን ያክል ጠቀሜታ የለውም። ነገር ግን በተለይ ይሄኛው ግሬቭ አይደለም ሞር ኢምፖርታንቱ ሰርከምፍሌክሱ ነው። ሰርከምፍሌክሱ ልክ እንደ ሰርክል ሃፍ ሰርክል ነገር ነው። ቅድም እንደ ኤስ የተጋደመ ኤስ ነገር ነው አይደል? እሱና ወይንም ደግሞ እዚህ ጋር ማየት እንችላለን። ሰርከምፍሌክስ የአፍ አከፋፈታችን ነው የሚያሳየው። አፍ አከፋፈታችን ልክ እንደ ኦ ይሄ ማለት ነው። አየኸው እዚች ጋር ኤስ የምትመስል ነገር ናት፣ የተጋደመች ኤስ ነገር እንደዚች። ነገር ግን እሷ ደግሞ እንደ ሃፍ ሰርክል ነገር ናት። እቺ ማለት እቺ የተጋደመችዋ ሰርክል ወይንም ሃፍ ሰርክል ማለታችን ነው። ሰርከምፍሌክስ ስናነበው ለኤን ብለን ልክ እዛ ቦታ ላይ ድምፁ ያለበት ቦታ ላይ የቆይታችንን ወይም የንባብ ቆይታችንን ስትረስ ለማድረግ ነው ማለት ነው። የተወሰነ ኤን ኢን ብለን ሳይሆን ማለት ኤን የተወሰነ እንትናችንን ያዝ እንድናደርገውና ድምፁ ላይ እንድንቆይ የሚያደርገን ነው። ይህችኛዋ ግሬቭ ግን ያን ያክል ከኤሊሽን ጋር የሚያያዝ ነገር ነው። ከድምፅ ጋር አወጣት ሳይሆን ከኤሊሽን ጋር አንዱ አናባቢ ከሌላው ስቴም ጋር ሲመጣ ምን አይነት ድምፅ ይፈጥራል የሚለውን ለመለየት ነው የምንጠቀምባት። ኦኬ እዚህ ቦታ ላይ ያን ያክል ኢምፖርታንት አይደለችም። ነገር ግን ሌሎች ኢምፖርታንት የምትሆንበት ቦታ በጣም አለ። ለምሳሌ በዚች በግሬቭ ብቻ የሚለይ ለምሳሌ ሄ ብለህ አንድ ግሬቭ ብቻ ብታስገባ ኦር ይሆናል። ሄ ነው ግን ኦር ነው የሚሆነው፣ ትርጉሙ ሌላ ነው ማለት ነው። ለምሳሌ ኦስ ብለህ ሆስ ብለህ አንድ ግሬቭ ብታስገባ እሱ ሪላቲቭ ፕሮናውን ይሆናል። ኦሬልስ ደግሞ ሆ ብለህ ለምሳሌ አንድ ግሬቭ ብታስገባ እንደዚሁ ሪላቲቭ ፕሮናውን ይሆናል። ነገር ግን አርቲክል ነው። ሆ ኢዝ አርቲክል። ኢፍ ዩ ፑት grave over there, it becomes the relative pronoun. We will discuss that one. But እነዚህ ስፔሻል ኬዞች ናቸው። በጣም መጠንቀቅ ያለብን ስፔሻል ኬዞች ናቸው። ስፔሻል ኬዞች ላይ እንጠነቀቃለን። ነገር ግን ይሄ ብዙ ለአጻጻፍ ይሄ በጽሁፉን ለለመዱትና ለቋንቋው ተናጋሪዎች ነው ይሄ ሞር ኮንሰርንድ የሚያደርጋቸው ማለት ነው። ለኛ ግን በተለይ ሰርከምፍሌክስ ሲመጣ ከንባባችን ጋር የሚገናኝ ነገር ስላለው ማለት ነው። ነገር ግን ስፔሻል ፊቸሮችን በደንብ መያዝ አለብን። ግሬቭ መች ነው ዩኒክ ፊቸር የሚሆነው፣ መች ነው የትርጉም ለውጥ ሊያመጣ የሚችለው የሚለውን ነገር በደንብ መያዝ አለብን ማለት ነው። Thank you, Zalala. Okay, but don't forget that ain is the active and sti is the middle and passive. So both are the also present infinitives. Okay, present infinitive ጥሩ ጥያቄ ነው ዘላለም። በኋላ ላይ እናነሳዋለን። ሪላቲቭ ፕሮናውን ላይ ቅድም የጠቀስኩኝ ኦስ እና ሆ they are relative pronouns. So the only difference is the grave. There is no any difference from that of the article. ስለዚህ ግሬቭ ጠቃሚ የሚሆንበት ቦታ ላይ ስትረስ እናደርጋለን። Okay, present infinitive. As we discussed before, this is ongoing on progressive action. Then express continuous or repeated action. And for example, use where the writer wants to stress the durative nature of the verb. So the emphasis is on the progression of or the ongoingness of the action, not the general feature of the action. If you want to put or if you want to discuss the general feature or else if you are saying the general characteristics of the future or stressing the action in general or in summary, then you are expected to use aorist. But if you want to indicate the progression of the action or progress of the action, then the author use the present infinitive. So, for example, I'm going to fish means the stress is not the in general summary of the action, but the Peter's intention of resuming ongoing work. So he's going to fish. Then how long he stay, we don't know anything about. But the fishing task is something like that. It takes a duration of or something like that. It will be half a day, but he's going to do that one. He's planned to last or to stay there for that period of time. So it indicates the progress of the action, ongoingness of the action, and so on. For example, and to go ahead, present infinitive of him to the other side. Barnabas want to take, but Paul didn't want to keep on taking. Present infinitive looking along, just there's this one, and okay. The other one is the aorist. As we discussed before, there are some irregularities regarding aorist. We know already that one, irregularities. In the case of participles, there are also, we have three types of, or we separate active, middle, and passive. Then we must be careful about each of the voices in the case of aorist, because there are certain unique features regarding aorist. So in this case, the infinitive in the case is simple, but we must be careful about which suffixes are used. For example, we have in the case of active, we have psi. Could you remember psi is always indicates that the aorist in this case is simple past, or this is simple past. No, in English, aorist is simple past. Okay, so in this case, aorist always has some morpheme or aoristic morpheme. We must remember that one. Sa is always added to the aorist. Aorist ስንል ሁል ጊዜ አይምሯችን ላይ መምጣት ያለበት ሳ የሚል ኤሪስቲክ ሞርፊም አለ። Like that of the indicative mood. So in this case, only iota is added. In the case of infinity, use psi is the first aorist active, use psi to lose, since it is the aoristic infinitive indicates that undefined aspect, or it can show the action as a summary. So to lose is but it is, take care about, it is not past. Do you remember this one, to lose? So even though it is aorist, even though we are saying it is past, but since the aspect is the most important one in the case of infinitive, so take care about translating it as a past. Okay, middle one is sasti. Do you remember that one in the case of middle? In the case of middle voice and passive voice are there. So sasti mai, sai, tai, meta, tai, tai. These are the middle suffixes. It resembles like that. So middle sastai, use sastai to lose for oneself. Passive tenai, to be loosed. Okay. So remember this one. First aorist has three. In this case, three voices have their own suffixes. When you come to the present infinitive, we have only two possibilities. Middle or passive is either or. It can serve as a middle or the passive infinitive, but it is discerned or it is determined by the context only. Or there are also grammatical or lexical factors in order to determine or in order to translate whether it is in the middle form or in the passive form. Okay, first aorist, we have active as we sai, lusai, legai, and so on. Legisai, sastai, lusastai, and passive tenai, lutenai. Would you remember that one theta? Eta is the passive indicator. Always remember that, especially theta eta, it is lengthened from theta epsilon. It comes from theta epsilon, but take care about this can be served as the indicator of the passive voice, the unique mark of the passive voice. So take care about this one theta eta is the passive indicator. If it is starts with theta eta, then it is opportunity, it is passive. If you find the theta eta and nai as the end of the verb, then it is the aorist infinitive, passive form. Okay. The infinitive highlights that Greek tenses describe the aspect. The aspect is only kind of the action rather than time. We don't have time in the non-indicative mood, or that means it is not present, past, or future, but we are being discussing about the aspect of the action. Okay. The least marked form, it is present an action as a whole without regarding to its progress or result. It is unmarked, and the other name of aorist is unmarked aspect. Unmarked aspect means doesn't show the progress or the result of the action. It indicates the summary of the action. Okay. For example, we have apotenai. Apotenai is, this one is the active. Apotenai, aorist. I don't refuse to die. How do we know that one? This one is the, as we discussed, this is always the first person singular. And we must discern this also, the plural one. We may find that one, plural one there. S UN, sorry, N is UN, STI, STI, and so on. Okay. Apotenai is apo plus tenai or tenasco, which is one of the compound verb. We call it the compound verb. Apotenai. We call it that compound verb. Compound verbs are verbs that have preposition plus verbs. And apo, you know that this is from. Then tenai, thanatos is this, and tenai, apotenai is a compound verb that is formed from the preposition plus a verb. Then this one is also, this has internal subject I. Then we don't have any supplement here, but I note we don't say that, but there must be negation before that. Here it must be negated by apotenai. There must be negation in front of that one. Me apotenai is I don't know, I don't refuse to die. And I apotenai is to death, aorist infinitive. Then I don't refuse to die. Just the ኢንፊኒቲቭን ብቻ ነው ትራንስሌት ያደረግነው። እሺ ኢንፊኒቲቭን ብቻ ነው ትራንስሌት ያደረግነው እንጂ ሰብጀክቱን ከዚህ ማምጣት እንችላለን፣ ግን ሪፊውዝ የሚል ነገር እዚህ ውስጥ የለም። እዚህ ጋር ቴታናቶስ ብቻ ነው ያለው። ኦኬ other example, he requires the disciple to get into the boat. Okay, this is English. Okay, as I said to you before, or I tell you before, there is the circumflex over the iota. This is different from that of the active infinitive, the present active infinitive, because of this one, this circumflex. So take care about the secondaries. The secondaries are well known in the irregularities. Take care about, they are not too many in number, but there are different irregularities over there. So for example, N is laben, to take, this shows undefined action. Labestai, this one is the middle, to take for oneself. Labestai is to take for oneself, since we are being using the nominative case. Henai, passive is henai, as we discussed before, but take care about there is no theta here. Do you remember that one, theta? This is one of the most irregular one, since it is secondary. Secondary is just, it is uniquely studied. Look, እንግሊዝኛ ላይ was, were ብለን ዲ ወይም በዲ ፓስቴንሳቸውን እንደማንጨርስ ማለት ነው። ምንም አንዳንድ ሬጉላሪቲዎች የሚያጋጥሙን ቦታ አለ እንግሊዝኛ ላይ አይደል? ለምሳሌ was is singular one or verb one, and was is done no matter, it's not is but was. Even sit, 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 and so on. This is a regular. Badi ወይም በኢዲ ማይጨርስ ከሆነ ሬጉላር ነው ብለን ነው የተማርነው ማለት እንግሊዝኛ ላይ like that. This is also a regular one. So ይሄኛው ዩኒፎርም የሆነ ፓተርን አለው ማለት ነው። በዚህ ይጨርሳል። ልክ እንደ እንግሊዝኛችን ኢዲ ወይም ዲ እንደምንለው ማለት first there is the regular one, whereas that of secondary is the irregular one. So if you compare the passive form of the first aorist and passive form of the second aorist, there is theta is left there. So there is no theta before eta. Theta is the unique mark of the passive voice. So, but there is no any theta before the eta circumflex over there. Both have circumflex, but the missing one is theta. We must take care about this one. There is also circumflex over there, and so on. Okay. Perfect infinitive. We have perfect is well known by kappa epsilon. Know that one. The additional one is nai, kenai. Lelu kenai. The translation to have lost, since The aspect is not perfect. The aspect is not continuous. It is perfective. Take care about that one. If it is the case in the present perfect, sorry, in the present infinitives, then the aspect is continuous. Then we must put to have been something or to be and ing form of the verb. In the case of in the case of in the case of that of the present perfect. But when you come to the, so in the case of present tense, when you come to the perfect infinitives, one of the unique mark of perfect tense is the addition of kappa and epsilon. Kenai, lelu kenai, to have lose completed with the result. Tenai, so lelus tenai, sigma is added in order to combine or recombine the reduplicated form of the stem with that of the suffix. Since it is other than mu and no, then the connecting vowel is not omicron, but it is sigma. We have already the knowledge of that one. So tenai, tai is the lelus tenai. Sorry, lelus tai is the perfect infinitive. Passive tai, the only difference is sigma is there. I think this is similar. Sigma is added. This is the connecting vowel sigma. Then this is also most of the time the passive also uniform. The passive and the middle are uniform. You can put like this, but the translation must be different because and it is discerned by the context as well. So the translation is different, but the ending is tai, the loose tai. This one is added because of the reduplicate argan combines another sigma when omicron chambrana man epsilon or omicron chambrana. So this must be over there. Style the unique mark of middle or passive voice. Say the loose style. And the translation depends on the context. In this case, to have lose for oneself or to have been lost or state resulting, then we must translate this as the passive one, and this one is the middle one. Okay. Perfect infinitive, completed action with a continuous result. Express the state or result that exists after the action has been completed. Used when the emphasis is on existing consequence. Example, as we know that one, because it is perfect means in our English, the action is completed, but the result is important. So continuing in result, it states the continuousness of the result. So it was the state or result that exists after the action has been completed. Used when the emphasis is on existing consequence. The man may have been able to have been set free. Apollelistai, perfect infinity. Normally it is shortened. There is no the man here, but simply this shows that the tense that carries the infinitive. Lelustai. Apollelistai is yeah. Okay. As we discussed before, we have three possibilities of the voice. The subject performs the action, and we call it that passive voice. If the subject participates in or benefit from the action, then we call it that middle voice. Or if the subject, the doer and the receiver of the action, that means it is middle voice. If it is the action is the subject, the receiver of the action, that is the passive voice. So this is the morphological note. The infinitive forms illustrates tense marker. You have already seen the indicative mood. Aorist active, lucide. This one. You remember that sa is the aoristic morpheme. Then the only addition is the iota, and this one is aorist active, and the addition is also iota only. Then contains the aoristic aspect morpheme. We call it as sa. Sa is the aoristic aspect morpheme. Then the addition is only iota. Here, ከኢንዲኬቲቭ ሙድ የሚለየው ወይም ኤሪስት ከኢንዲኬቲቭ ሙድ የሚለየው ሶሪ ኢንፊኒቲቭ ከኢንዲኬቲቭ ሙድ የሚለየው በአንድ ኢዮታ ብቻ ነው ማለት ነው። ሉሳይዝ to be losing. Lucide is to be loosed or to loosed in the case of indicative mood. Sorry, to loosed. Yeah. Aorist passive. After theta, as we already discussed that one, contains a passive morpheme theta, length from theta epsilon. Perfect infinitives. We have already looked at the lustai. This one is the active one. This one is a middle or passive one. Then there is also reduplication of the initial letter of the stem and connecting by epsilon in order to form the perfect tense. So there must be the reduplication at the beginning of the sentence, the stem. So the perfect active adds the kappa morpheme, cap morpheme, shortened from kappa alpha, cap. Then this is ይሄ የምናስታውስባቸው መንገዶች ይሆናሉ ማለት ነው። Style, as we discussed before, elsewhere notes that the aorist infinitives, like aorist participle, do not contain the augment. Take care about there is no augment in the non-indicative mood, but the only is the addition of the ending, only the suffixes are there. ስለዚህ አውግመንት አንጨምርም በኢንዲኬቲቭ ሞድ ምክንያቱም we don't have bother to time, but we have been bothering about the aspect only. So first, aorist infinitives, sigma amalgamation, sigma of the first aorist infinitive often merges with the preceding consonant. Then the amalgamation is also amalgamation, no sigma first aorist ጋር ለምን ሳ የሚልና ኢዮታ አለው ሳይ ሲግማና ከሲግማ በፊት ያለው ወይም ስቴሙ በሲግማ የሚጨርስ ከሆነ ወይም በቫወል የሚጨርስ ከሆነ there must be amalgamation ስንል ፕስ እና ክስ ለምሳሌ ፓይ እና ሲግማ ሳይ በሚል ይተካሉ ወይንም ቺ እና ሲግማ ወደ ሳይ ወደሚቀጥለው ሪፕሬዘንታቲቭ ይሄዳሉ ማለት ነው። ሶ ያንን ነው አማልጋሜሽን የምንለው በሲግማ ወይንም እነዚህ በፓይ በደብል ኮንሶናንት የምንላቸው አሉ። እነዚህ ደብል ኮንሶናንቶች at the end of the stem of the verb ሲያጋጥሙን እንደዚሁ ኤሪስት ኢንፊኒቲቭ ስንጨምርባቸው ከነዛ ጋር ኮምባይን ሲሆን ሲግማው ምን ይሆናል የሚለውን ጥያቄ ለመመለስ ነው። አማልጋሜሽን ኮሪዛት አማልጋሜሽን secondary infinitive formed from an amalgamated secondary system plus an active or a style middle, but take care about there is circumflex over there. Okay. Secondary passive infinitive formed from an augmented secondary. This is study እነዚህ ነገሮች እናንተ ሪፈረንሳችሁ ላይ ሄዳችሁ ቴክስት ቡካችሁ ላይ እዩዋቸው። So in order to parse the infinitive, we must see tense, since infinitives are verbal nouns. They have both the characteristics of the verb and also both they have the characteristics of the noun. As a verb, they have tense and voice, and also mood. This is the verbal aspect, and as a noun, they can serve as an object or subject of the sentence. They have also subject, nominative, and so on. For example, loin is a present active infinitive from lo. They do not indicate person or number. Just infinitive do not indicate person or number. They are singular, always first person, singular. Or they do not indicate any person. ለምሳሌ መሞት ስንተኛ መደብ እንደሆነ አይናገርም። መብላት፣ መጠጣት ወይንም ደግሞ እዚህ ጋር to lose መፍታት simply ፐርሰንን አያመለክቱም ወይም ነምበርን አያመለክቱም ማለት ነው። አንድ ፎርም ነው ያለን ማለት ነው። ሌላ ዲክሌንሽን የለም። ዲክላይነብል አይደሉም። ነን ዲክላይነብል ናቸው። they are non-declinable. This is indeclinable verbal nouns. They do not decline like a noun. But adjective participles verbal adjectives ስለነበሩ ልክ እንደ adjective decline አድርገዋል። ነገር ግን እነዚህ non declinable ናቸው። so don't bother about the person, do not bother about the number. So simply we are bothering about the ending, whether it's present, aorist, or perfect ending. Then the unique feature must be remembered. So in order to parse infinitive, we have only indicate the aspect plus the voice, and it must be also the part of the speech is categorized under infinitive, or it can be non-indicative. Okay, then the source or the stem is from law. Okay, the complicated one is not the home of the infinitive. Complication is a little bit on their function. So how do we discern their functions within a sentence? So one of the difficult ones in order to identify the function of the infinitive. So in general, before going to the function, we must discern these things. General features: the infinitive may appear with or without the article, as we discussed before. The article is simply in the nominative article and genitive article and also dative article, but all are in singular, all are neuter. So the infinitive may take the article, or it may take, or it may not take. Okay, but the article must be these three possibilities: for, to, for. So when articular, or that means if it is the case, if it is the article, then it occurs with prepositions, especially the most preferable or the most suitable prepositions with the infinitives are dia, s is in, meta, pros, and pros. Dia is through, is into, if you translate these prepositions. In is in, meta is with or after, pro is to, pros, I think so. Okay. ትዝ ይላችኋል ያችን ክብ ሰርተን በቀስት ያመለከትን የኢንፊኒቲቮችን ማነው የፕሪፖዚሽኖችን ጥቅሞች ያየንበት ዲያግራም። ዲያ ማለት through, but it has two case preposition, dia or according to, and so on. Is into, this one is in, this one is with or after, pro is to, and so on. So infinitives, if it is a case, if it is articular or if it has article follow, then there must be these prepositions after the articular infinitives. Okay, infinitive can have also subject in the accusative case, accusative of general reference. For example, to die is gain, for example. To die is the subject of the verb is. To die is gain. So the infinitive must be in the accusative case. Initially, the infinitives are the accusative case. ያለውን ትላላችሁ general feature ላይ initially ኢንፊኒቲቮች ምንድን ናቸው? accusative case ናቸው። Okay. In dative case means this is similar. The Greek was originally a noun in the dative case, or in the dative case match. For example, when is the present infinitive of when. Lo originally means for losing. Then infinitive can serve as a subject of the verb in the accusative case. Accusative is general reference. Anarthrous means without the article, or which is bare article. It is without the article. Then the infinitive often occurs with the impersonal verbs like dare. Dare, it is necessary, or excess time, it is lawful. And infinitive are also negated by may, or we will discuss that one. Like that of all of the non-indicative moods. Non-indicative moods are negated by may. Okay, in general, we have two main functional categories of infinitives. They can function as adverbially, or modifying the verb, and they can function as the substantively, or function as a noun, as substitute of a noun. So, in which በየትኛው ኬዝ ነው ሰብስታንቲቫሊ፣ በየትኛው ኬዝ ነው አድቨርቢያሊ የምንጠቀመው የሚለውን ነገር አይ ቲንክ እሱን በደንብ ማየት አለብን። ኦኬ adverbial used to modify or qualify the main verb of often expressed aspect, purpose, time, cause, result, or command. We have these probabilities. What does that mean aspect? What does that mean purpose? What does that mean time, cause, result, or command? Before going anywhere, we must discern what does that mean purpose, what does that mean time, what does that mean cause, result, or command. So infinitives of purpose indicates why the main action is occurred. It can serve as bare infinitive or infinitive with to, or infinitive with s to. Then infinitive of we call it an infinitive of purpose. So infinitive infinitive of purpose means it indicates why the action occurred. We can also take additional example from here. Purpose means the infinitive expresses the aim, intention, or purpose of the action in the main verb. So this is adverbial usage of the infinitive. For example, we have come to worship him. What is the aim or intention or purpose of the action? To worship. But in this case, we have the adverbial usage of the infinitive or in that adverbial category, it is purpose of the main verb. Edit infinitive express undefined purpose, the subject of the infinitive will. For it, Christ died not to come, but not to come to abolish, but to fulfill. What is the purpose of the coming of Christ? To fulfill the law, or not to abolish the law. This is the purpose. So in First Thessalonians, we have also, I sent to find out about your faith. To find out your faith means just the purpose that indicates the sending of, or I sent to find out about your faith, the purpose of sending. Okay. Be aware of participating your neighbors, your righteousness before men to be noticed. To be noticed indicates the purpose of the verb. So it must be clear about what does that mean, purpose, first of all. So in order to indicate the purpose of the infinitive in Greek, we must, or the infinitive must be either in the bare infinitive. Bare infinitive means without infinitive, infinitive with to, or infinitive with s to. For example, prosukestai, proskunesai, to worship him. Matthew 2 ሙሉ ንግን ማንበብ አለብን ልክ እንደ ቅድሙ ማለት ነው። ቶ ጊኖናይ, to know him. Do you remember this one? To plus, this one is the bare infinitive, this one is to plus infinitive, this one is to plus infinitive. If you find this formative, or this structure in Greek sentence, then that is indicates the purpose of that verb. Infinitive of result, it is always indicated by hosted. Take care about. If you find hosted within a given sentence, then it indicates the result of, or the outcome of the action. For example, if you want to extra result means extra elaboration, the infinitive expresses the result of or outcome intended to or intended of the action of the main verb. It is hosted is so that is hosted with the result that I may succeed in coming to you. Or creation reveals God's are so that the result that they are without excuse. The God may open to us a door so that we may speak the mystery of Christ. So in this case, the Hena plus the Hena indicating the purpose. Hena subjunctive mood like now. Hena plus subjunctive mood. Subjunctive mood. Negagan the God purpose the infinitive gun, bare infinitive, to plus infinitive when s to plus infinitive የሚያመለክተው purpose ነው። ሪዛልት ግን ሆስቴ ነው። ሆስቴ is the result። ዋናው ነገር እሱ ነው። ሆስቴ ካለ so that ለምን ተረጉመው ማለት ነው። ሆስቴ ኬሪን Akin, so that we don't have a need to say anything. So this one is translated as so, yeah, so that, take care about that one. So that, postage, so that, then if it is a case purpose, then we have three possibilities. Three possibilities there. Infinitive alone, or it is bare infinitive, top plus infinitive, S top plus infinitive. Then this is the purpose of, if it is the purpose or purpose ነው የሚያመለክተው ስንል ወይም አድቨርቢያሊ በዚህ ፎርም መሆን አለበት ማለት ነው። ኤግዛምፕሎችን ደግሞ እንደዚህ ማየት እንችላለን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ኢንፊኒቲቭ አለውን top plus infinitive, S top plus infinitive, whereas that of the result used, you have only one possibility, then use with hosted to express result. Only expression is hosted. So take care about if you find hosted, then with the infinitive, it indicates the result. Okay. Infinitive also indicate temporal or infinitive of time, or it indicates time, express time relative to the main verb. For example, antecedent, bring plus a plus infinitive. It is possible also put this. For example, think print plus a plus infinitive. It is antecedent, so it must be translated as before. In to plus infinitive, it is contemporaneous. It must be translated as while. Metato plus infinitive subsequent, it must be translated as after. So infinitive can serve as time or temporal infinitive. We call it a temporal infinitives. Or the infinitive of time or temporal infinitive either can be translated as before, while, or after. Temporal infinitives. Okay. Infinitive of cause express reason often with dia plus to. If you find dia with to, it is cause or causal infinitives. Then causal infinitives only dia plus infinitive. The translation is because, since it is cause, causal. So if you find this construction, dia with to plus infinitive, then you will find the because, the infinitive, the translation is because. So dia to me ekrozan, because it didn't have a root. Infinitive of command, or it is rarely used. Of course, the command is expressed by second person. You must do this one, and so on. Herein, rejoice. This is a second person. በሁለተኛ መደብ ነው የሚገለጠው is the command. So herein, clean, rejoice, wet, and so on. It's rare, but command rare use where the infinitive expresses a command, rejoice, wet, and so on. It is known for there is no any formula in order to indicate the command, but I think it is simply the translation or the context matters a lot in order to say whether it is a command or not. So the other usage is substantival usage. Substantival usage. These are the adverbial usages of infinitive, we have discussed the purpose, we have discussed result, we have discussed temporal, we have discussed the causal, and we have discussed our command. But purpose and their infinitive were ist, to, and the other is to. Is to, to is the purpose, and that of hoste is the result. And they have also, the rest has also their own characteristics, their own features. So we must take care about, we must keep that note when we are translating infinitives. So the other one is the substantival usage. As we discussed before, substantival means it can serve as a substitute of a noun, or it can serve as a noun. Okay, adverbial means it tells more about the verb. So while, when, before, because, after, and so on. This is an adverb. So substantival infinitive function as a noun, either a subject or an object of, or as a modifier. For example, as a subject, to live is Christ, to die is gain. This both the posim, to apotenine, to live is Christ, to die is gain. To live is Christ. The subject of is, or the complement of is to live. So the infinitive serves as the subject of the sentence. To die is gain, also this one is also the subject of the sentence. Okay? As an object of the sentence, God works in you to will and to work his pleasure. To work serves as an object of the sentence, or this to work, or this infinitive is or used as an object of the sentence, or else the modifier or complement, or the dead to be judged. This is also modifier. So just this is the substantival usage of the infinitive. So we have three possibilities: subject, object, or complement of the sentence. Okay. Then we have discussed temporal. What does that mean, temporal? Cause, because, subject of the sentence. When speaking about the substantival usage of the infinitive, direct object of the verb, still we are discussing about the substantival usage of the object of the sentence. The grammatical subject, not anything else. The grammatical subject of a finite verb. The wishing is present, but the doing is not. This one is, even though it is not infinitive, but originally it is infinitive, as we discussed before. To die is gain. Dying is gain is equivalent to die is gain. Direct object. Okay, so okay. The other portion that we must do exercise on infinitive, and then we must exercise the infinitive exercises. Just I will add that exercise in the coming week. Then we must practice that exercise, or else I will send you the worksheet ነገር ወይ እንድታነቡት ልክላችኋለሁ። የተወሰነ ፕራክቲስ ማድረግ እንዳለባችሁ ይገባኛል። ኢንፊኒቲቭን በተመለከተ ማለት ነው። ኢቨን ዞ ዜይ አር ሲምፕል ቢሆኑም ኢን ተርምስ ኦፍ ሰፊክስ ሲምፕል ናቸው። ኢን ተርምስ ኦፍ ዩዜጅ ትንሽ ጃዝ ያደርጋሉ። ስለዚህ እነሱን ሴንቴንስ ላይ ምን አይነት ጠቀሜታ አላቸው የሚለውን ነገር ግን እሱን በደንብ ዋና ከኤክስጂሳችን ጋር የሚገናኘው ነገር እሱ ስለሆነ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ሴንቴንስ ላይ ምን አይነት ጠቀሜታ አላቸው? አንድ ሴንቴንስ ላይ ኢንፊኒቲቭ ምን ሲሆን ነው የትኛውን ትራንስሌሽን ይዘው የሚለውን ነገር እነዚህን ኖቶች ይዘን ነው አንድን የግሪክ ሴንቴንስ ትራንስሌት ለማድረግ መሄድ ያለብን። ሶ is that substantival usage or else substantival በጣም ቀላል ነው፣ ብዙ ፖሲቢሊቲ የለውም አይደል? substantival or subject or an object or as a complement of the sentence ያገለግላል ወይ ነው የትኛው ላይ ነው የሚያርፈው ነው እንጂ I think ፍሮንት ላይ ለን ከመጣ ከቨርቡ ፊት ከመጣ substantival ቢል to die scale or something like that እንደዛ ከሆነ it's substantival as substitution noun ነው as a noun ያገለግላል ማለት ነው። or else an object of the sentence is also simple or it's a complement of the verb is also simple. If it is the case, the substantival is simple, but the complicated one that needs careful caring is that the adverbial usage of the infinitive, adverbial usage of the infinitive ስንል እሱም ፎርሙላዎች አሉ አይደል? bare infinitive ሲሆን to plus when is to plus infinitive ሲሆን this is purpose, hoste ካለ result, ሌላ ደግሞ ዲያ ፕላስ ቶ ካለ ደግሞ ቢኮዝ እንዲህ ነገሮችን ማስታወስ አለብን ማለት ነው። ምንም እንኳን የተወሰነ ነገር እንትን ብለንም ማለት ነው። ነገር ግን እነዛን ኢንፊኒቲቭ ዩዜጃቸው እነዛ ኖት ይዘን ትራንስሌሽናችንን በዛ መሰረት መሰራት አለበት ማለት ነው። ነገር ግን በተለይ ሰፊክስ ላይ ያነሳነው ነገር እቲ ሲምፕል እነሱን ደግመን መለማመድ ያናክል ብዙ ሰፊክሶች የሉትም። ለምን ኢንፊኒቲቭ ኦንሊ አስፔክት ነው ሳይየን ታይም የለውም። እሱ ብቻ ማለት ዲክሌንሽን የለውም፣ ነምበር የለውም and so እነዚህ ሁሉ ነገሮች ስለሌሉት ስለዚህ ኢንፊኒቲቭ ሁልጊዜ ምንድነው ነምበር የለውም። ሪልስ አስፔክትን ከተመለከትን ሶስት አይነት አስፔክቶች አሉት። ፕሬዘንት when continuous aspect, aorist undefined aspect, perfective aspect. There is first possibility which are in terms of verb or in terms of time. ለምን verbal nouns ላይ ማለት ነው። in terms of verb ነው ስንል ሶስት ነገሮች አሉት ማለት ነው። አስፔክት የትኛውን አስፔክቱ ሶስት አስፔክቶች አሉት። አንደኛው ፕሬዘንት ኮንቲኒየስ ነው፣ በፕሬዘንት ቴንስ የሚገለጸው ነው። ሁለተኛው ኤሪስት ነው፣ በአንድ አንዲፋይንድ ነው ወይም ጀነራል ስፒኪንግ ነው። ሶስተኛው በፐርፌክት ነው፣ ፐርፌክቲቭ ነው አስፔክቱ። ስለዚህ ሶስት አይነት ፖሲቢሊቲዎች አሉ ማለት ነው። ፐርሰንን ስንመለከት ሁልጊዜ ፈርስት ፐርሰን ሲንጉላር ነው። የሚወስዳቸው አርቲክሎች ሶስት ናቸው፣ ቱ እና ታቭ እና ኦሜጋ ሰርከምፍሌክስ ያለበት ማለት ነው። ቱ ጄኔቲቭ ሲንጉላር ማለታችን ጄኔቲቭ ሲንጉላር፣ ዴቲቭ ሲንጉላር እና ኖሚኔቲቭ ሲንጉላር አርቲክሎችን ኒውተር አርቲክሎችን እንወስዳለን። it doesn't have a person የለውም። ስለዚህ it always takes neuter article. so ኢንፊኒቲቭን ስናስብ እነዚህን ነገሮች ማስታወስ አለብን ማለት ነው። as a noun ሲያገለግል ግን as object of the sentence, as a subject of the sentence, or as a complement or modifier ማገልገል ይችላል ማለት ነው። as a noun, as a verb ከሆነ ግን እነዛን ነገሮች ማየት አለብን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ እነዚህ ነገሮች ኢንፊኒቲቭ ላይ ሞር ኤክሰርሳይሶችን በደንብ መልመጃችን ላይ የቴክስት ቡካችን ላይ አለ ኤክሰርሳይሶች፣ እነሱን በደንብ ይዋቸው። ተጨማሪ ኤክሰርሳይሶችን ግን እንድትሰሩ እልክላችኋለሁ። ቮካብለሪ እዚህ ኢንፊኒቲቭ ላይ ያለው ቮካብለሪ ዴይ ነው። it is necessary take accusative infinitive accusative and infinitive ነው የሚወስደው። ኤክስቲን it is lawful. Melo I am able to. Prim before hoste so that ቅድም ብለናል። ፕሪን እያልን የነበረው እሱ ቢፎር ማለት ነው ይሄን ማለት ነው። Infinitive of time, prim plus he plus infinitive, it is before. Hoste is the result clause or result in ማመለከት ነው። Hoste is time. So prim, hoste is so that, and so on. Okay. I think this is the end of the infinitive. Compared to that of participles, it is simple, but it needs an exercise. N and so on. The aim, S-tie, this one is the present, whereas that of psi, tie, tenai, this one, aorist, kenai, and die, this one is perfect. So just remember that ending and practice by translating different sentences. Okay. Additional pronouns. Additional means there are certain pronouns that are discussed before. You must refer your Greek 1 lesson, especially demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns, either that of eknos, that, or this, or autos, and so on. These are demonstrative pronouns. Then demonstrative pronouns have uniform in their declensions. They have the pattern of second declension, and these additional pronouns have something different. The rest are the former pronouns that have been discussed before this topic is. They can follow the second declension pattern. They are the most simplest one, and even though they are so simple, these are also simple because it has also similar pattern of that of third declension now. So yeah, it has similar pattern of third declension pattern. These are tense or T. These are the interrogative pronoun because that is they care about the grave over there. Take care about that one. አሁን ቀጭን ጭረት የምንለው በጣም አስፈላጊ የሚሆነው እዚህ ቦታ ላይ ነው። ቲስ ቲ እዚህ ጋር ግሬቭ ባይኖር ሌላ ትርጉም ነው። ኢንዴፊኒት ፕሮናውን ነው የሚሆነው። ግሬቭ ስላለ ብቻ ይሄ ኢንተሮጌቲቭ ፕሮናውን ነው። ኢንዴፊኒት ፕሮናውን ጥያቄ ምን አይደለም፣ ኢንዴፊኒትነት ነው የሚያመለክት። someone, somebody, something and so on. This is indefinite. ስለዚህ እዚህ ጋር ግሬቭ ስለሌለ it is interrogative pronoun, categorized under interrogative pronoun. When you remember the interrogative pronoun, tes and t is the interrogative pronoun. So tes is used for a person, whether it is male or female. This one is t is the thing. It must be what. So who says, for example, is a person. What says is the thing. What is this? Test legate or tautu. Who says this? Tautu is this. Test is who. Legate is or he says. Who says this? Or we don't say that. Who he says. Who he says this. We don't say that. This is who. Legate is say or he say. Or sorry, he says. Tautu is this. Who says this? T is tin tautu. Who is this? This one is, ST is, T, ST, tau 2, who is this? Greek interrogative pronouns are declined by, as we discussed before, they undergo self-declaration pattern. Greek interrogative pronouns are declined by case number and gender, can appear in direct or indirect expression, and can even function as verb value to indicate the pattern. Okay. Declaration pattern and self-declaration pattern, as we discussed before. Test is who. What is the genitive form of who? Is whom. Of who. Dative to whom. Tena whom. Okay. If it is the case plural, then you must also follow the pattern of self-declaration nouns. Tes, tennis. Once you determine the genitive singular in order to find the stem, the rest is simple. Tes, tennis. Tenos, tenon, tenai, tessi. There is no over there. Tena, tenas. This one is. Just refer to your self-declaration noun lesson and then start declining by using only this one. Practice are here. Practice ማድረግ ያለ ማድረግ በጣም ይመቻል። አጭር ነው። self-declaration pattern ተምረናል። እነዛን self-declaration pattern የምናስታውስበት ይሆናል ማለት ነው። self-declarationአችንን ወደኋላ ተመልሰን ሪፈር ማድረግ ይጠበቅብናል። self-declaration nouns በምን አይነት መልኩ ነው ዲክሌሬሽን ፓተርን ናቸው ምንድነው የሚለውን ነገር ካወቅን ሌላው ግን በጣም ቀላል ይሆናል ማለት ነው። self declaration ኤንዲንጋችንን ጀስት ወደኋላ ተመልሰን ሪፈር ማድረግ ያስፈልገናል። Okay, for example, self-declaration pattern common የሆነ pattern feature አላቸው ብለናል። self-declaration okay. For example, if you take this one, test, then in the nominative case, test is okay. Test is you have either miss or either you may none or there is no none or sigma. In this case, sorry. In this case, we don't have sigma double. So this is a nominative singular. In order to make the nominative plural, you must first of all you must discern this one is a nominative singular. In order to make the nominative plural. Plural. Just add epsilon sigma. You remember this one, epsilon and sigma. Okay. But before that, you must discern the stem. The stem is found on the genitive singular. Tin is a stem. The rest is suffix. So tennis is the once you have the determined stem, then write the stem all over the rest pattern, and you will also add this stem formatives. Then you will find the full declension of the self-declination noun. This is a revision. Sigma and epsilon sigma, whereas that of the neuter noun T, just add this one. Tin is the stem is tin. ስለዚህ እዚህ ጋር ቲን መጨመር ነው ማለት ነው። በት ኖሚኔቲቭ ሲንጉላሩ ሲግማ ወይም ነን ነው። ስለዚህ ኖሚኔቲቭ ሲንጉላር ብዙ ጊዜ ሲግማ ወይም ነን ነው። ከጀነቲቭ ሲንጉላሩ ጋራ ነው አብሮ የሚሄደው። ቲኖስ እዚህ ጋር እንደዚህ ነው። ቲኖን፣ ቲኖስ፣ ቲኖን፣ ቲኒ እዚህ ጋር ኖ እና ሲግማ አብሮ ሲመጣ ኖ ቲምሲ ሳይሆን ቲሲ እዚህ ጋር ቲኒ እዚህ ጋር እንደቀደሙ እዚህ ጋር አልሶ ቲና ቲናስ ይሄ እዚህ ጋር ለሲንጉላሩ ነው እየሰራን ያለ ነው ማለት ቲ ማለት ነው። ስቴሙን መውሰድ አለብን። ቲና፣ ቲና፣ ቲኖስ፣ ቲኒ፣ ቲሲ ይሄና ይሄ ተመሳሳይ ነው ኒውተር ስለሆነ እዚህ ጋር አልፋ አለ ቅድም እንዳልነው Okay. I think this is a full declension thing. You have also this. This one is this. This one none. This. Okay. Okay. We have this possibility. Okay. This tinis, tinos, tinon, tinos, tinon, tini, tc, and so on. So that is the case. Tc, then the movable no is there. We have already TC and a movable no. It seems Sorry. Sigma በፊት ያለበለችዋን ማለት ነው። ቲስ ቲኔስ ቲቲ እዚህ ጋር ኖት ሲምፕሊቲ ብቻ ሳይሆን ፕሉራል ቲና አለው። ይሄና ይሄ ተመሳሳይ ናቸው ሁሉ ጊዜ የሚፈር ላይ Okay. The declension of teeth. What's the meaning? The meaning is interrogative pronoun, but there must be grave over there. Take care about that one. The only difference with the indefinite pronoun is there is grave over there. It's separated by only by grave over the iota and so on. Okay. ስለዚህ ሰር ዲክሌንሽን ፓተርን ነው የሚከተለው። ዋንስ ሰር ዲክሌንሽን ካወቃችሁ ይሄንን ዲክላይን ማድረግ ዲክላይን ስታደርጉ ደግሞ ይሄ ሁ ማለት ነው፣ ይሄ ሁዝ ማለት ነው፣ ይሄ ቱ ሁም ማለት ነው፣ ይሄ ሁም ማለት ነው። ይሄ ኋት ወይም ኋት ማለት ናችን ነው ኦር ቱ ኋት እና ኋት yes ስለዚህ ይሄንን እናንተ ሞር ፕራክቲስ ዲክሌሬሽን ኦፍ ቲስ ኤንድ ሰብ ዲክሌሬሽን ፓተርን የሚከተለው ስለዚህ ይሄን ይመስላል። ኦኬ ቲስ ለምሳሌ ቲስ ኢዝ ሁ ማቲው ቻፕተር 12 ቨርስ 48 ቲስቲን ማቴርሙ who is my mother? What is my is this? Who is my mother? Test. This one is so yeah. Testing her mater. This must be sigma over there. Testing her mater mu. Testing her mater mu. This one is the interrogative. Who is my mother? Testing her mater mu. Mater is my mother. This is the mother. This mo is who is my mother. Tenos, whose, as we discussed before, tenos is the genitive of whom or of who is whom. So tenos icon how to icon is icon or image. Tenos icon aute is the demonstrative pronoun. This the tenos is also a pronoun, but this one is the interrogative pronoun. Tes icon aute. Sorry, aute. This one is the feminine noun. She ማለት ነው። ያ this ሆኖ ግን በፌሚኒን ቦታ ማለት ነው። ቴስ ሄኪን አውቴ ቴስ ሄኪን አውቴ whose image is this? Whose image is this? This one is also always interrogative. ስለዚህ መጠይቃዊ ነው የሚሆነው። ስንፈታው መጠይቃዊ ነው ማለት ነው። ቴኒ ቴና ቴሲ ቅድም እንዳልነው ቴሲ ኖሙ ሆስቴን ጌናይ ታውቴን to whom shall I compare this generation? Genai is generation. This generation. This one is this generation. This one is compare. Nomai. nomos is just compare. Tes is to whom shall I compare this generation? Okay. Tenai zetetai, zetete, who do you seek? Zotero is to seek. Tenai zetetai, tete is this one. Whom do you seek? Okay. And so on. Adverbial usage of neuter accusative singular T, we can mean why. T poite tautu, why are you doing this? It can be adverbially, it can adverbial what when why ብለን ልንተረጉሙ እንችላለን ማለት ነው። ጠይቅ ብቻ ከሆነ ወይም ኢንተሮጌቲቭ ብቻ ከሆነ ቲ in that case what ነው ማለት ነው። adverbial and so on. Okay. Affirmative versus negative just እነዚህ ኖቶች ናቸው እናንተ ይዋቸው። Okay. The other one is, as I said you before, tes and te have similarities to the former one. The only difference is the grave. In this case, there is no grave over the iota, but the pronunciation and the rest is similar to that of interrogative pronoun, what, who, and why. So this one is indefinite, someone, somebody, something, and so on, anything, a certain one, and so on. So the declension pattern is like that of the interrogative pronoun, as we discussed before. They follow the declension pattern of declension, and someone, anyone, something, and the translation is like that. For identical interrogative pronoun, except their accentation, grave, accentation, elite, enclit can be used. It can also, this indefinite pronoun, use substantively or adjectively. This one is pros gunatai, tes, estin. This one is interrogative pronoun there. So the indefinite pronoun there. How can anyone enter? Console someone. Okay. The other one, just እነዚህ ነገሮች በኤክሰርሳይዝ ነው የምናውቃቸው ምን እንደሆኑ። ኢንዴፊኒት ፕሮናውን ነው፣ ልክ ነው። ሰምዋን፣ ሰምበዲ፣ ሰምቲንግ ብለን እንዴት ነው ተረጉመው ብለውን ነገር ኤክሰርሳይዞችን በዛሬ ጊዜ ይመጣሉ። other one is just remove what is that and noun or pronoun. Follows the rest. This refers to this is second declension pattern. Out of the relative pronouns, these are the relative pronouns. Do you remember that one? It looks like the article. The only difference is sigma, but there is grave over there, and this is also a rough breathing mark, not a. It is he, and it must be also different from that of or. Or is simply you have uniform in everything, but or is simply the smooth position mark over there. But this one is rough breathing mark, masculine singular, feminine singular, neuter singular, and the rest is also plural one. Once you know the declension patterns or the declension endings of second declension patterns, then in order to discern the relative pronoun, then add only grave over the relative pronoun. So for the ፋውል ላይ ማለት ነው ግሬ የምትጨምሩት ፋውል ላይ ወይም ደግሞ ዲፍታንግ ከሆነ በሚቀጥለው ፋውል ላይ ምልክቱ ጨምረው እዚህ ላይ ጨምረው። ስለዚህ ዲክሌንሽን ሰከንድ ዲክሌንሽን ፓርት ኦስ ኦይ ኦን ኦይስ ኦን እንደዚህ ነገር ነው። እንትኑ ገጣጥማችሁ ስታነቡት ኦስ እና ኦይ አንድ ላይ ኦውን ይሄና ይሄንና ይሄን አንድ ላይ ስታነቡት ኦውን ኦይስ ይሄና ይሄን አንድ ላይ እንሶ እንደዚህ ያላችሁ ማየት ትችላላችሁ። ሰከንድ ዲክሌንሽን ፓተርኖች በጣም ሲምፕል ናቸው። ኦስ የሚጨርስ ከሆነ ኖሚኔቲቭ ሲንጉላር ነው። ኢ የሚጨርስ ከሆነ ደግሞ ኦስ እና ኦይ ያለው ማለት ነው። ኢ የሚጨርስ ከሆነ this is plural and if it is ends with on then it is singular and plural. Ois this and this, if you combine this and this, ois, oness, and so ለዚህ ያደረጋችሁ ማየት ትችላላችሁ። ሰከንድ ዲክሌንሽን ፓተርን አንድ ጊዜ ከያዛችሁ ሪላቲቭ ፕሮናውን ለማየት በጣም ሲምፕል ያደርግላችኋል ማለት ነው። ግሬት ብቻ ነው ሪላቲቭ ፕሮናውን። ኦኬ gender and number match the antecedent can determine the function in the relative clause. Okay, gender የተካው ስም የትኛው ነው የሚለውን ነገር ካወቅን በኋላ እናውቀው። ኦኬ nominative relative pronouns, subject of relative clause, o anthropos, o kurion estin apostolos. O anthropos is a man, nominative relative pronoun, subject of relative pronoun. O anthropos is a man who edin is so, ton curio, it is the Lord, is apostolos, is an apostle. It's indefinite. There is no article there, then you must translate as indefinite article, either an or a. If you have a definite article over there, then they use the. Okay. I think this is enough for today. In the next session, I must bring exercises, and then we do that exercise, and we also add one portion, subjunctive mood, and so on. If you have any questions regarding this lesson, you are welcome.